So, people, now I will let you in on a little secret. This is very valuable information that I just got. I just got this from my guides. I got it from God because it's very hard to have God speak to you while you're in hell. Let me explain what that is. You see, the first three dimensions of life, who runs them? I'll give you one single guess. He has horns and a tail. So this guy actually runs shit from 1 to 3. And when you start to get out of here, that's when love is what sets you free. That's why they say love sets you free, because love is the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is embracing. You see, I knew a girl once, and we used to debate about this topic because she was very religious. Like, she was educationally sound from that perspective. She studied religions in university for years. So this one was brilliant when it came to the topic. And me, I'm a guy that just grew up as a Christian. So I just learned basic Bible 101, and then I saw varying degrees of examples of religious people around me from every faith. So what I can tell you right now, as I, hover around a Christmas tree, what I can tell you right now is that dimensions 1 to 3 belong to that guy, the guy that we're always talking about in those Abrahamic religious books. So the fourth dimension, you see the green area right here? That's the transition. And you see here, new humanity conscious. Everybody needs to pass through that dimension. This chart here, this is a form of a religious text for me, because it describes in summary pretty much the point of every single religion. It's to go from down here, the fear, the zero, the death, all the way and climb up the vibrations until you get to what? The 12th dimension. What does that mean? Look on the far side. It says heaven. So we're trying to get to heaven. How do you get there? You climb and you rise. You go through your dark night and you rise out of Satan's lair, which is the first 3 dimensions. So what I'm realizing as I'm trying to climb out of that 4th dimension, you have to shed everything that ties you down to that dimension. So you have to cleanse everything, purify everything. And this is where religion can be useful. So a Catholic priest is very good at blessing a house. You can have a rabbi come by, you can have an imam come by, you can have some spiritual leader from some other group come by and bless your place. Do an energetic blessing, a blessing that's from what people call New Age, which just means all faiths put together. That's basically the new religion one day. People might shoot me for saying that, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say because this is my video. Everybody will be in the same religion because there is no division of religions. That is just an illusion. That's an illusion when you get down here in the dimensions. Down here is the dimension of separation. Everybody's apart. Everybody's fighting each other. And as you get up here into the eye of the storm, you realize that there's nothing but peace. You see that? See how I did that? The eye of the storm is where there's peace, but outside there's a hurricane. So you look at the 12th dimension. This is like the very small view right in front of you of the eye. As you expand out, you look at and you're like, wow, look at all these divisions and these pieces. So what makes the image of God? Tons of pieces. It's a mosaic. And anybody who is like very divisionally religious will argue with me, which is this lady. I used to argue with her all the time. So yes, what they will try to do is they will insist that their religion and their faith is correct. And they are right. And then if they say that there is no other religion but mine is the only true one, they're also right. But that's if they're talking about it at the highest level, because the highest level, theirs is just a string in a massive garment that is God's robe. So God speaks to everybody in every different... So God would all of a sudden make one religion for one group of people and everybody else he's going to give dog shit to. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, sure. What makes you so special? What makes you so incredibly blessed that all of a sudden you, some little 40-year-old girl, is going to be told that you have the one true undeniable faith, and you are smart enough and you are awoken enough to be able to understand these words for all that they are at the tender age of 40. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So everybody else, the rest of the 8 billion people that currently live on the earth, and everybody before us is basically wrong if they didn't see things exactly the same as you. You see, I'm going off on a tangent, but I do that. That's my style. And that's what the world is essentially. That's where you are when you are down there at those lower dimensions. You're in that place of division. So everybody's fighting each other. So, I've been shifting in and out of the third and fourth, and it's been driving me nuts. But you got to purify yourself before you do. You got to leave everything behind. So that doesn't mean, sell all your belongings and become a monk. That means nothing to do with that. That just means leave behind your attachment. So those people who are suicidal and they're like, I'm going to take my life because I have nothing to live for, they're at a very good point. They're what they call, what is it called? It's the call of the void. There's a word in French for it, that expression. They're looking right at the void. They're looking right at that interdimensional barrier. And they're like, all I see is death. Yes, death is the key. It's not a physical death. It's a spiritual death. Just like Christ did. The story of the Bible is not about some Jewish guy in the desert. It has nothing to do with that. That's just a movie. That's just a children's story. And no offense to anybody. I identify as a Christian currently. Well, not really. I follow the teachings, but not the way that people know it to be. I'm reading a completely different language when I'm seeing the Bible when I'm at church. But another tangent, and you'll come to know that's my style, is this is the real me. This is the real Robert. You're coming to know who I am and how I talk and how I verse things. I go on tangents because everything's related, and I see it all in front of me like a brilliant tapestry. And what can I do but just pick up on what's coming at me so incredibly fast? So I go all over the place, but I always return to base. And it's a beautiful thing going on that journey with me. And I'm rhyming now too. That's when I know that I'm in flow, and this is what I know that rappers do and what singers do. They'll just make up a flow and they'll start rhyming, they'll start talking about stuff because they're in flow with the universe. The universe is always, it's a beautiful song. It's an orchestra constantly. So it is a gift if you're able to witness that orchestra. I have many, many, many times, and I thank the Lord Almighty for that. But as I was saying, dropping between the third and fourth dimension, this is especially painful because you're literally dragging yourself out of hell. Watch The Dark Knight Rises. He gets his back broken by who? Satan. Satan comes and says, you know what? You think you're somebody? Boom! I will break the bat, as Bane did. He broke his bloody back and he threw him in the sewer. So, where was he? Where was his dimensional coordinates? Down here. He was near death, but he was still alive, which that place sucks to be in because you're broken, you're nothing, everything you thought you were, all of a sudden it goes out the window because the Grim Reaper comes and slashes you and breaks your back, but you're somehow still alive. So it's like, please just end me. But no, you still have to live and tolerate being in that broken state. No, not for a day, not for a week, not for a month, not for 2 months. No. Not only are you taken out of your mansion, but you're thrown into somewhere you don't even know where you are. There's nothing. You are nobody, and you can't even get up out of bed without help, without some crazy efficient pulley system. So that right there, that's The Dark Knight Rises. So what does he do? He sees all those people fall to their death climbing up that impossible well. So those people who want to stay down there, they're just like, it's worth it for them. They're like, it's fine. I'm just going to stay down here. But no, he's like, I know what I am. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And he gets the fuck out of there. So he eventually climbs out and he reclaims what he is. And this is the whole story. The story that San Juan de la Cruz in Spain wrote about in the 16th century. He was a Catholic mystic who wrote a play about this long, miserable time in a man or woman's life where you feel this longing for your soul. They call it the dark night of the soul, and he wrote it so many hundreds of years ago. But when Frank Miller got a hold of the Adam West Dark Knight, excuse me, Batman and Robin from the 60s and 70s. He's like, nah, man, we're gonna redefine this guy because this is what's about to happen to billions of people. So he got this spiritual download. Let me tell him what they're about to go through and let me make it interesting and fun. So he grows and takes this dark story, and there goes the birth of the Dark Knight. So not only does the Dark Knight go through this, but then afterward, Jason Todd does, the Red Hood. So again, it's always the same story of death and rebirth. And it's not about reincarnation in the Hindu ways, because so many people are, oh no, that's works of the devil. No, it's not, because this is going to be the video that religious people are going to shoot me for. They're going to crucify me for. Let's go with that. Okay? Because I'm breaking down the barriers. I don't like barriers. I build bridges, not walls. So we talk about this, and they say, my glorious chart, I speak off everything. So you see, when it comes to, and sometimes I lose my train of thought. Okay? I'm almost a 40-year-old man, so give me a break. So when we talk about these divisions and these ways of looking at things, death and rebirth, reincarnation, this sounds like Hindus. No, it's talked about in the Bible. They're like, no, that's a pagan thing. Yeah, you were told that for sake of educational purposes, because you can't tell a kid that God and Satan are the same being. I can't say that. See, if this was 200 years ago, that lady I used to know, she would have me nailed to a cross and burned alive in front of a town full of people. Even if she cared about me as a friend, family member, etc., she'd be like, well, it's God's will. And I'm happy we live in better times than that, because now I can say shit like God and Satan are the same being. Jesus and Baal are the incarnation of the same being, of a singular being of yin and yang, dark and light. So when you say something like that, it shakes those people that have a subconscious attachment to, it's not even a lie. It's a lesser version of the truth, but it's still the truth. So it's information they're not supposed to know. So their subconscious is like, shut that guy up, shut him up, lock him up, burn him. Because I'm letting them cheat on their test. This is information they're not supposed to know right now, but this is me. I help people cheat on their tests because I'm told to do this. So I'm doing it. I have a big mouth. I've always had a big mouth. I'm giving you all the keys to get up there, to ascend. Just go. Your soul's dying for it. When you're depressed and angry and fat and tired and alcoholic and addicted to all sorts of stuff. Why? Your soul is like, stop. I'm not this couch potato sack of defeated garbage at the age of 38. That's not me. I am light and I need to shine. So if that resounds with you, then follow me. I'm not saying I'm anything other than just a guy who went through some things, and I don't think that information should be buried. It shouldn't be clandestine. Information belongs to all. All those who seek will tune onto this frequency, and they'll find me. They'll find it. They'll find the information. I'm nothing but a piece of, in a sea of consciousness. The God consciousness is all of us. So when you look at it that way, that sounds really good, right? Because when people say, you see, I've been to many places where everybody is right. What timeline, what vibrational level, what consciousness level, what dimension. So at every level, everybody is right. When you hear atheists saying, there's no God, they're right. Because they've seen something. Their interpretation of what they've seen from the dimension and the place that they're at is that God is not a bearded old white man, European man, because I'm not into race politics either. I'm a white man, I'm a black man, I'm a mixed man, I'm a visible minority, I'm not a minority, I don't get wrapped up in three-dimensional politics, because that's all division tactics, and this just keeps us down here in the first three dimensions. So I'm not trying to be there. So the more we engage in that, the less we can rise like the Dark Knight and claim Gotham back and renew it. So at the end of the day, when we look at this in a nutshell, the whole point is to get out. So the division is no good. God is not a European, a Greek god in the sky that throws lightning down. That's Zeus. That's called mythology. It's not called Christianity or Judaism or Abrahamic religions. That's considered outdated information, right? Right? However, that's the only image that anybody sees when they talk about what does God look like. They're like, oh, it's this bearded Caucasian Greco-Romano man that perhaps holds a rod of lightning, Odin, Norwegian mythology. It's always the same story, isn't it? Ancient Egypt, Babylon, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, every single faith always says the same shit. And you know what it is? It's shit. Because it's just as much shit as it is legit. Okay? I just coined a new phrase of mine. It's just as much shit as it is legit. It's just as legit as it is shit. So, their theories of there is no God means your interpretation of some guy in the sky is very limiting and that's an insult to the image of what God is. God is, listen, if all 8 billion of us took our entire lifetimes searching tirelessly for God, we would still not know what he looks like. Why? Because God, the image of God is still being discovered. Nobody has it because it's not a singular piece. Because guess what? It will only be when we are all ascended and we join that consciousness. It is an energy. It is a consciousness. It has nothing to do with the human form. You know, all those movies and those TV shows that they tell you that, oh, you know, I've ascended into my into a higher form and I no longer take a physical form. Duh. What is that? Being an ascended master or being a god according to Hinduism or being part of the God consciousness. You're just on the frequency. You're one of God's helpers. God is a collective. It's all about the collective, building bridges. So as you're sowing seeds of separation and division, guess what? You're keeping yourself trapped down here. And trust me, you know what? Satan loves to chill with the homies. He loves to party and smoke up and bang bitches and do shit. That's how Satan rolls. So if you're down here and you're not doing that stuff, believe me, he's going to poke and prod the shit out of you. I'm literally in my house here trying to do my stuff. And you know what happens? I'm like, why am I like forgetting stuff? Why am I like bringing stuff downstairs and I'm accidentally banging into the walls? I'm like, I'm way more elegant than this. And I'm like, oh, I'm not paying the toll keeper. I'm not paying that troll under the bridge. Satan and his little devils, they're poking at me because I'm on a low vibe, but I'm not acting low vibe. So I'm making myself miserable. So I need to get up off this vibe. I need to shed part of myself. And I'm going to do some very interesting type of therapy. And I'll tell you all about it in another session after I'm done it. So I can fully absorb the lessons and the consciousness and pass it on. But that's what happens when you're between the channels. It's painful as fuck. And you are basically exposed to every single trauma, every single sin, every single piece of karma you racked up during this time. Familial, ancestral, this life, previous life, if you believe in any of that shit, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is you got to pay your debt, repay your debt to society so that you can reform and you can get out of jail. But when you get out of jail, guess where you go? There's really, at the end of the day, there's a yin or the yang. What side do you want to be on? That is the whole point of all of this. Do you want to be on the side of yin, which is the light, or do you want to be on the side of yang? But guess what's funny about that? The dark is just the light that's not been shown yet. That's all. If you shine a light on the dark, guess what? That shadow is no longer. That shadow, you're like, wow, look at all that shit that's hiding in there. Huh, that's me. That's the key to shadow work. If we're just like, oh, I'm a good person. I don't do anything. I don't swear or drink or dance or do this or do that. Yeah, you're lying, buddy, because you got a shadow that you're hiding and you're burying. And if you're saying that and you actually consciously believe that, whew, you got a ways to go. Because you got to know that you are your own villain. You're the villain and the hero in your story. You're the God and the Satan. This is where there's that image that shows half Jesus and half the devil. And it's funny how it irradiates. I want to use that word because that's exactly what it is. It irradiates, especially Christians. They're like, oh, it's blasphemy. This is blasphemous. Yeah. Well, guess what? Down here, I call myself a Christian too. And I don't find it blasphemous because I know what that means. You're talking about the unity. You're talking about the oneness of God. God is all things. God is the singular creator of all. So what does that mean? That means that God... So then what is Jesus? Jesus is God. Okay. So does that not mean that God created all things? God created us in his image. Satan was a fallen angel, which was created in his image. So then what is Satan? God's creation. If you look at the God's consciousness, the God consciousness, all these pieces are just coordinates on a map, on a mosaic that makes up the image of God. Put us all together, then that's where God's hiding, within us. That's why they say, the kingdom of God is within you. The temple is within you. The church is within you. Yeah, the temples is in here. This is where you contain the consciousness of God, inside your brain, in your mind, in your mind's eye, third eye, right? That's what it is. So, guys, what I can tell you, the whole point of this, really, I was frustrated. This is just a natural video. This is my tone, and you're going to see it going forward. Because this is the first video, the first official video of letters to my 21-year-old self. This is impromptu and raw, just like me, just like Robert is. I'm in your face, I'm direct, I'm all the things. I'm the hero, I'm the villain, I'm the wicked, I'm the righteous, I'm the wounded, I'm the strong, I'm the abuser, and I'm the abusee. If you want to look at history, I am half Caribbean and half European. So I'm a colonialist and I'm a colony. I am a slave and a slaver at the same time. It's so interesting. I'm the yin and the yang. I have the divine masculine, I have the divine feminine, all within one. And I understand. So, in telling you all this, I'm showing you how to get back to your true self. Or find your new self. It's just light. Expose all that you are. Stop being afraid to tell people what you are. Be honest, because you can't be honest with people. How can you be honest with yourself? I know we wear coats and we wear masks and we wear facades to fit into the world, but why would you want to fit in? Wouldn't you want to define a new world? That's what I want to do. I talk like this. I act like this. I'm in your face. I swear. I talk about things that are controversial. This is the entire image of letters to my 21-year-old self. This is basically a story that I've been told from beyond to write. Why? Because this is how you prepare yourself to get out of this place. If you think this place is hell, if you think this place sucks, if you think this world is ugly, you're on the wrong side of it. So I know how to get out of it because I've been on the other side plenty of times. I like my freedom. I always did. I don't want to be a prisoner. So letters to my 21-year-old self are the things that I would have told myself back then to guide myself differently, so I would have started this journey earlier and been more conscious back then. But maybe this is what this is. Maybe I am telling my 21-year-old self this from the future. Maybe this is memoirs. Maybe this is a vision that he's going to get. He's going to be like, oh shit, I should be doing this. I should be doing this. I should be doing this. And I know I'm doing that. Talking to myself. And this is what I want to share with the world. This is a book that is mixed media. It starts on YouTube. It's on TikTok. It's on other social media channels. But it's mixed media. Mostly it's videos. It's voice notes. Then it's some text. It's music that I make. It's drawings that I do. It's graphic work that I do. It's images that I pick up. It just tells you about the story and the journey that is me. So I'm going to tell you all again. If you want to be with me on this journey, this is where you find me. This is where you're going to find this journey unfolding, where I talk about all the things of the 12 dimensions, how we get inducted into it and why, and how we get ourselves out of it, how you prime yourself to get out of it. So at 21 years of age, when you become an actual adult in North America, in any of the states or provinces, you'd want to know this information back then so you could guide yourself right. I would love to inspire men and women, but especially men, because I'm not trying to tell girls what to do. If they can learn from what I say, that's great. But I want to inspire young men who, like me, didn't know what the hell they were doing back then. Young men like me who had no idea how to find a proper job, how to date, how to run a business, how to manage your emotions and your psychological well-being, how to be religious, how to have a relationship with your soul and God, how to literally do everything, live life, hustle, work, be liked by your friends, appreciated by your peers. I had to do it all the hard way. And I swear to God, if we look at it from that perspective, we chose this. I definitely chose this. Me and my little boy right here, he's always here because he's my spirit guide. And it's funny, you never know who's in your circle and why they're there. I have an interesting story. He's a very big part of it. And I won't tell you why now, but like I said, I love to catch off those beautiful waves that are flying around us. But this story is all about how you get yourself to that place, how you ascend, and how you accelerate your process through life. Because if I'm going to fix anybody, I'm going to fix myself first. Healing starts from within. Power comes from self-mastery. So if I'm going to master myself, I'm a male. I'm going to teach other males how to do the same thing because I'm a subject matter expert. I've already done this on a male. So if I'm going to tell women what to do, that's the whole other story. But some of this can translate over, but some of it is just for us men. But I wish that everybody gets a beautiful piece of this message because the ladies can hear it too. So that they can raise good men. They can teach their husbands, their sons, their brothers, their fathers, their grandfathers, their uncles, how to be better men, how to look for the right man, a man who's at this point just being real. I'm just a guy in my home taking videos and doing stuff. And I felt the call and I hated it. So I want to tell you, thank you all for listening to the first episode of Letters to My 21-Year-Old Self.